is the best exhaust option for your Harley Davidson Sportster? I've been through 3 different options. I'm going to give you my experience with all 3 and tell you which one I think is the absolute best for your Harley Sportster. Alright everybody, what is up? What is up? As always, thanks for stopping by to another video today. As you can see, we are here with my Harley Davidson Sportster, the Iron 1200. And today, I want to talk to you guys about 3 different exhausts that I have been through on this motorcycle. I want to give you guys some insight to all the different sound variations between those 3 options. So I want to give you guys a run through the sound, the looks, and the performance, and which one I think is the absolute best exhaust option for your Harley Davidson Sportster. So if you guys have been tuning in for a while now, you know that a long time ago, one of the first exhaust options I had on this bike was the Vance & Hines twin slash slip-ons for the Sportster. You know, I've gone through a couple other different variations, the Gallop Moto Performance Thunderstruck 2-2, and now currently as it sits, we have the Two Brothers Racing 2-1 Comp S exhaust. And like I said, what I want to do for you guys today is give you guys a real in-depth look at each one, give you guys my thoughts, opinion, and experience with all 3 of those different exhausts. And really the big thing is I want to do a cut-up of some old footage of the sound of all 3, giving you guys a comparison of the sound back-to-back of all 3 of those different exhaust options, and then we'll wrap it up with a little bit of my thoughts and opinions on both the performance and the looks of all 3 exhausts. But of course, before we get started, let me know your guys' thoughts and opinions down in the comments. What are you guys using for your Harley Davidson Sportster exhaust, and what is the favorite exhaust you've ever had for your Sportster? What was the best experience for you with your Harley Sportster and exhaust? Let me know down in the comments. I will be curious to get all of your feedback on what everybody out there thinks is the absolute best exhaust for any Sportster. So like I said, to get this one started, I want to do a cut-up of some old footage of the sound of all 3 exhausts. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to start with them in the order that I had them. So the first run through, you will see footage from the Vance & Hines, then you'll see the Gallop Performance 2-2, and then you'll see this Two Brothers Racing 2-1 exhaust. And what I want to do is give you guys a little bit of insight what that sounds like from idle to rev, and then a couple drive-bys. Now, listen, I know a lot of this was filmed with a mic and a camera. Sometimes the audio isn't always the best, but hopefully you will be able to see, or hear at least, some of the differences, the different sounds and tones of all 3 of those exhausts when they're cut up back to back. So, to get it started, we are going to start off with some idling. Again, I will put some text up on the video clip to let you know exactly which exhaust option this is, but we're going to start with the Vance & Hines idle, the Gallop 2-2 Thunderstruck idle, and then of course the TBR 2-1 idle. So take a look at some idle footage right here. So that gives you an idea of what those are going to sound like at idle. The next one, we're going to do some revving options. We're going to do a couple blips of the throttle on each one. So next up, take a look at some rev action of these exhausts. And then finally, we will do a few drive-bys of each. Again, these are in order of Vance & Hines, Gallop Thunderstruck, and TBR 2-1. Take a look at some drive-bys. that you've had a chance to hear those cut-ups of all three, drop it down in the comments and let me know what you think the best sounding one is, or if you have any experience with these, let me know what you think the best sounding one is. In my opinion, I'm gonna go with the best sounding would be the Two Brothers 2-to-1. I love this thing. I put it on a few months ago. I've had nothing but great things to say about it. A very deep, rumbly, raspy tone, very aggressive when you get on it, but does kind of level off when you get to some of those cruising speeds. I will say this is definitely my favorite one, the Two Brothers 2-to-1. I was also a big fan of the Vance & Hines twin slash slip-ons. When I put them on, they have a very good, mild, consistent Harley tone to them. A little bit of a rumble and a growl when you really get on it. Again, levels off at cruising. Very happy with those. I ran those on the bike for, it must have been almost 4 years or so. Would definitely recommend those if anyone is interested. And then finally, the Gallop Performance 2-to-2 Thunderstruck exhaust. As you can hear, this one was very aggressive at all stages, idle, rev, drive-bys. Very deep and aggressive with that 2-to-2, really drag style pipe sound. It really sounded good, but on a lot of that decel or letting off the throttle or deceleration, really got a lot of snap, crackle, pop, a lot of loud popping and tinging. We're gonna get to that in just a little bit. But overall, if I was gonna rank these and give you guys the best sound, in a general sense, I would say your 2-to-1 is gonna be the best, slip-on being the second best, and 2-to-2 drag style pipes being the third best options for sound. Next up, I want to talk a little bit about performance with all three of those, starting from probably the worst performance to the best. So the worst, as you guessed it, was probably the Gallop Motorcycles Thunderstruck 2-to-2 exhaust. That straight through drag style pipe, I lost a lot of horsepower, a lot of torque just through the snap of the throttle. As soon as I installed them, it was very noticeable, the performance and power loss with those. So I've got to rank those definitely at the bottom. If performance is something you're looking for out of those, would not recommend those drag style pipes for performance on the Sportster. Next up, performance, I would say the slip-ons, the Vance & Hines slip-ons had the next best performance. Obviously, getting rid of those old, big, bulky, clogged up mufflers on the stock Sportster was great. Gives you that little bit of extra sound, gives you that little bit of extra airflow to kind of displace some extra air. A little bit better performance. Once I put those on, I could definitely notice a little better throttle response with my Sportster after putting the slip-ons on. But the number one for performance has definitely been this 2-to-1 exhaust with TBR. A little more back pressure, creating more torque and horsepower. I noticed a noticeable increase in throttle response. As soon as I put this on, I got it tuned up and matched to the air cleaner. The bike is running easily the best it has ever run with this 2-to-1 exhaust on it. I can definitely drag through the RPMs a little bit more, definitely more horsepower, more torque, definitely noticeable over those other two options. So from a performance perspective, if that's something you're looking for, would definitely recommend a 2-to-1 option for your Sportster. And then finally, we're going to wrap it up with looks. We'll throw some pictures up here of the options. For looks, I would say the slip-ons are going to give you a very classic, traditional Harley look. They're not as big and bulky as the stock mufflers, but they are a little bigger. They're going to cover up some of your rear swing arm, the chain, some of those guards and things like that. They are going to come back a little farther into the rear tire, but the slip-ons, great for just a little bit of an enhanced look, make the bike a little louder, a little extra performance out of it. Next up, I would say the Thunderstruck from Gallop had a pretty good look to it. Again, we'll throw some pictures up here, but that had that 2-to-2 slant down drag look. Very minimalistic, exposed a lot of the rear of the bike. You really get to see a lot more of the mechanics and things like that. Short, stubby, drag style pipe. It looked really aggressive, looked really cool with those slanting down towards the ground. But coming in at number one, the best looking, again, I've got to give it to the Two Brothers 2-to-1 exhaust that we currently have on the bike. It just looks sporty, it looks performance oriented. It still gives you a little bit of that stripped down look towards the back where you're exposing a lot of the rear wheel, the chain guards, the swing arm. You've got a good exposed look down here. Just overall, really great 2-to-1 option for your Harley Sportsters. So if I was going to rank all three of these options from a style perspective as far as exhaust goes, not necessarily even brand oriented, not Vance & Hines, not TBR, more so the style of 2-to-1, slip-on, things like that. If you're looking for the best option for your Harley Sportster, in my opinion, it's going to be that 2-to-1 option. It's going to give you a great look, it's great sound, it's great performance. I'm super happy with the two brothers that I have on my bike. I'm sure a lot of the other 2-to-1 options out there are really great as well. Of course, they are a little bit more expensive, so if that's a concern for you, you could always take a look at some of those slip-ons. Again, great options out there as well from Vance & Hines, Cobra, all the normal brands out there making the slip-ons. They're going to give you a little bit of extra airflow over stock, a little bit of extra sound, which is always good. And then, of course, you've got those 2-to-2 drag style pipes. I loved the look of them. It was very cool, but honestly, from a sound and performance perspective, just wasn't giving me what I wanted from my Sportster, so that's why we went ahead and finally got a 2-to-1 on there. So that is my review and experience with all three different options: slip-ons, drag pipes, and 2-to-1 exhaust for your Sportsters. If you guys have any questions out there about any of those styles, feel free to drop them down there in the comments and let me know, or feel free to drop a comment down there on what your experience has been with any of those styles of exhaust for your Sportsters as well. I will be curious to hear any of that feedback from you guys. But as always, that's going to go ahead and wrap this one up.